What is going on, everybody? Bingo here, and I am back again with another Sky Striker deck profile. So I did want to record this again because it is the last deck profile for the format before the ban list takes into effect. So I had a regional on September 14th, and this was the day before the ban list took into effect. So I wanted to kind of capture this moment before the format rotated out and my thoughts on the deck as is, because there's a pretty large meta shift coming up, and the deck build philosophies I'm going to take for Sky Striker moving forward are really going to change because we had to accommodate so much for the bad matchup that was Vanquish Soul K9 in our deck building theory, and some of that shines through now because I was already testing the next format when I submitted this deck list. So it was kind of a spur of the moment thing. We ended up getting top 8, and we played against 4 Yummies, a Crystron K9, Pyramid Tsurugi, and Apophis. That was round 1, so it was only 7 rounds, so not the largest regional, but we did go get top 8. And yeah, I just want to jump into the deck profile, so I'm not going to spend too long talking about the individual card choices for the engine. I can ramble, so I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes because I just, I mean, I always find myself talking. So we'll go over, obviously, the main first. So as always, 3 raid, nothing to see here. This card's absolutely insane. And then we have 2 rows. Again, this list will be spoilers playing Pot of Desires, and I think 2 rows, while you can get away with just 1, you really do feel it when you banish it off 0. If you're forced into a position where not only do you need to play into a board, but you also can't threaten a destruction off of 0. But not only that, is this deck, the only match loss I had all day was because game 2 and 3 I could not play the game. I just didn't have consistency, and the next set helps with that. So I may continue to play 2 rows even despite the new cards, because sometimes it's just good enough to normal summon rows. And that's it for the monsters. So going forward, obviously we have our obligatory 3 engage. I'm not going to say anything about this except for there was one game where I got to draw, I got to resolve 4 engages, 3 of which were for draws, so that was pretty funny in the same turn. Linkage, again, I said it last profile, arguably the best spell card in the deck. This card is crazy. 3 Widow, and I'm skipping over these because this is non-arguable. Regardless of anything, I don't think there's ever a point where you cut any of those last cards down at all. Then we're going to have 2 Lemnis Gate. I personally, even without Desires, I think this card is absolutely phenomenal at 2, right? I drew 2 at 1 game during this tournament, and it was fine, right? While it hindered the play patterns, right? Combine this card with Droplet, and you get very unique game states that you can maneuver through. I don't have it on screen. I did capture it. I believe I only won 3 die rolls, and I'm not sure. I may have lost 1 game 1, but for the most part, I felt like if I piloted correctly, I could not lose any game that I played, that I could play, which omits the 2 that I couldn't. So moving on to the one-ofs, we have 1 multi-roll. The threat of this resolving is so potent. I would say that forcing interaction, which enables thrust and talents, was the reason I was able to play into boards so well. Sometimes I would search this off of my first engage if I already had a way to play, because of the threat that it provides. Hornet drones, I don't think this will ever be cut. Again, consistency, I just need to play. And there's a unique play pattern where if you start with drones and Kagari add it back, letting you get to resolving engage for a draw that turn. It's okay. And this format or this tournament, I did decide to play Shark Cannon because I figured people would be playing next format testing, and I do respect the Mitsurugi matchup, and this card does help with that. I was able to bring back somebody's Murakumo and blow up the field and then establish the negate. So that was the threat of that was really potent. And then the last two striker spells is one Afterburners and one Area Zero. Afterburners, I did enjoy having this card in here. I'm not sold on it, though. I wanted to test it without the Mitsurugi matchup, but I did play against the thing that I wanted. It was either a second Regeki or Afterburners, and is because of the Yummy matchup is the only reason I wouldn't want the Afterburners. Which is I feel like Yummy is by far in a way the most represented deck. So that may stand, may not stand. I'm not entirely sure. Area Zero was immensely important for consistency, but remove it from or give us the next cards from Doom of Dimensions with the quick play for consistency, and it may not be necessary anymore. So I'm still working on that. I do believe I will cut it after the next set. But onto the normal spells, we have 3 Upstart. Game 1, my favorite part about this format that we were playing is I could be ignorant to Droll Game 1, and it paid off immensely. Both of these cards in triplicate are, I think, just far and away, like, you start with these and you can play, you're going to threaten so much. Like, Desires, you cannot give striker card advantage. It just picks apart everything. Thrust, there's a couple of games where I would open 2 Thrust going first and it's dead. But those games I was able to play, with the exception of one of the ones that I couldn't play at all. I did have multiple I think I had 1 Thrust and 1 Talents in my hand that time. Reinforcements of Army, Triple Tactics Talent, and Regeki. All unique one-ofs. Again, I'm not a big fan of main decking Regeki, but as a thrust target to give me engine, board break, or versatility with board break, hand rip, or draw was very important to me. And then on to the quick plays. Forbidden Droplet in 3. I do not understand the logic of this card and Widow Anchor are not the same card at all. While they both say negate effect, the way they interact with the game state is not even close to the same. I was able to... this card lets you do so many cool things. One of my favorites being on resolution of a card, putting 3 spells in grave because of this. So engage, chain something, and then or my opponent chain something and then a Widow Anchor negate. I think, it was actually engage, chain IP, chain Widow Anchor, target IP, chain Futsu, chain Droplet, send the 2 cards on field, and then I had previously started with Upstart, so I'm putting a engage and a Widow Anchor into the grave to have 3 spells, while negating 2 and then taking the IP. So, this card is just so good, and with the new quick play to kind of filter playing it in multiples there's no downside in my opinion anymore. And because it was pre-ban list, I'm on 2 Book of Eclipse, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go to 3 or not. My current build does have 3. This card was great, this format, but I still wanted to potentially respect, say, Malice, and it was great, right? That's why I do have it in 3 in my next ban list, or after my post ban list deck. So it was phenomenal today, and I do believe I will be playing 3 post new set. And then Called by the Grave, please ban this card. It needs to go. It's way too good. It's way too potent. And it's really unfun to play with and against. Feels unfair to play with, feels unfair to play against. And then the Black Goat Laughs. It was when it was relevant, it was good. Oftentimes going first. So there was one game going first where I engaged. They ashed chain linkage 0. And then I actually ended up setting a spell because I had I'd either multi-roll or area 0 to send the spell to get a draw off of the engage, and it was great. And then I just continued to combo from there. So that's the main deck. Onto the extra deck. So I'm gonna really focus on the changes here. So we have 3 0. And I know in my last deck profile I only had 2, and I stand by. You only need 2. I think having the third was completely unnecessary today, but I put it in because it is theoretically more relevant than the other cards in that slot because you're linkage locked so often, and it lets you play greedy. Or in weird game states where desires kind of isn't your friend and you banish your Lemnis Gates, having the third is better than having, say, the Dark Charmer. I made 3 a few times, I think, just because I could. Lets you be hyper greedy, and I don't think, given the current selection of striker cards, I don't see a reason why we would not play 3 going forward, because we don't have Amatsu, we don't have Camellia. Amatsu is very relevant. Camellia, I don't even think has come up once in that tournament. And then 3 Kagari, there's absolutely no reason to cut this. I made 3 several times. Then for one-ofs, we have 1 Hayate and 1 Kaina. Hayate attack directly came up 0 times, but I did attack with it to get a card into the graveyard. I actually believe I crashed and triggered Ray after ascending Ray, and then Kaina came up as a body. Sometimes you're just trying to set up a Lemnis Gate bounce or clear something off of the field that isn't, and you don't want to burn your Kagari for whatever reason. Area 0 usually is in that conversation, like Area 0 target Ray, Ray summon Kaina if you say you had linkage or engage already. It depends, but I wouldn't cut any of these. There's no reason to. Again, today I was testing 2 Shizuku. This I made 2 one time, and that was again because I could. Absolutely not necessary, and I don't even know if I'm going to play it going forward. So what I would do is consider discussing other cards I would play in its place. 1 Zeke, absolutely never needed the second, but again, maybe you like having a second Zeke instead of a second Shizuku. I preferred the value of Shizuku because maybe I'm in a place where I can't play on my opponent's turn, but I ended with a Ray because they couldn't completely deal with my stuff, and I can end phase search a way to further advance from there. I valued that way more. Azalea, broken card. Zeke, really good card. And then for the non-strikers, SP Little Knight, absolutely not cuttable. Comes up all the time. It's like it is literally the only non-striker link that comes up frequently for various random stuff, banishing stuff from grave usually. But Exciton Knight, this was for Vanquish Soul Canine. And as of right now, that is why it was here. I didn't make it today. I thought about it a couple of times. We'll probably continue to play it going forward because it is a good utility card that, again, I don't see a more valuable card to play. And Typhon comes up in weird game states as well. I made it once today because I made a misplay against a Yummy player where I put myself in a position where they were allowed to book or target my 2 guys summon off 0 to book them. So in order to keep playing, I had to turn the stuff in the card in my EMZ after playing as much as I could into Typhon, bouncing the rows back to my hand, and then I could play with my spells. I ended up winning that game pretty handedly, but because of that misplay, this card kind of bailed me out. I'll probably, again, still play it because I value it more than, say, a second Hayate, which would be literally useless. All right. And then lastly, we have our extra deck, or our side deck. So anyone who saw my last profile know I was a huge fan of the main deck traps. Well, they're in the side deck right now, and that is for Vanquish Soul Canine. So we have our 3 Imperm, our 3 Songs of the Dominators, and 3 Dominus Impulses. This was just unbelievably good all day, right? I love this whole package in the deck. I think it's super powerful, not playing into canine cards, or and then just giving you the option to have these as breakers as well. Songs of the Dominators as a breaker, great card. Dominus Impulse as a breaker, phenomenal card. Again, pair well with Droplet because they obviously stay on field and you can send them. It stops your opponent from responding with traps. Absolutely great all day. Now, they're not for Yummy. You don't really need much for Yummy to beat them. I would side in the Impulses and Songs just because I think they're slightly better than some of the other cards in the main deck, but your Yummy matchup is pretty free. Solemn Judgment. Unfortunately, the one hit to this deck, and it does matter. Today, the regional alone, I judgmented 2 Lightning Storms in 2 different games. So that is why this card's here. While it's nice utility to when they don't have Lightning Storm, this card is here because of Lightning Storm. So there may be more matchups where I'm preparing to go second or choosing to go second, but this card was the safety net that I enjoyed. I've even considered continuing playing the 1 and playing like 2 Iron Thunders. If you guys have better ideas for this card, because again, it's protection against mass removal. That is why it's here. It's just nice. It's not once per turn and can't hit a normal summon and stuff. If you have suggestions, please let me know. And then the last 3 cards are Dimensional Barrier, was fantastic against Mitsurugi. Would side it in against Yummy because it's a decent card. So why not? If I'm going first, even though Black Goat is broken against their deck. Jamming Waves, again, this was strictly for Vanquish Soul Canine to force the traps. I did take the inspiration from the Worlds player, and I absolutely agreed with it. I've thought about it a few times in the past, but her specifically stating the utility kind of made it click, so shout outs to her. And then the last card is Surgical Striker Hamp. I assumed people would be testing Lunalight. Thankfully, I did not play against them this tournament. So, again, I appreciate all the comments on the last deck profile. I'm a big fan of this deck. Taking it to a top 8 finish this weekend was a lot of fun. Literally felt like I had the best deck in the room. The only match I straight up lost was the one where I couldn't play post game 1. The deck piloted well, feels literally unstoppable. I did get drolled. I know people are going to talk about droll. I assume I'm getting drolled post game 1 every single game, and I did. I think about 6 or 7 times. I didn't keep track. But if you play and plan and build around getting drolled, it's manageable. It's fine. And it's no different than like Ryzeal getting drolled. You just plan for it. Like things like always start with desires. If you have a way to play, such as Ray or Linkage, and then trying to draw into your traps like Judge, whatever. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Thank you guys. I appreciate your time. This is more for me, but I know people do enjoy Sky Striker deck profiles, which I will gladly do about 1 million of because I'm taking it to Anaheim here in a few weeks. So thank you.